Hey y'all, welcome back to Sidewinder Shed. Right now I'd like to go ahead and see if this old bike will crank up. And it's a cold, raw, wet day. Kind of miserable. I don't feel like being outside right now, to be honest with you, at the moment. But let's see if this old bike will crank up. Okay. That's a 2001 Suzuki Volusia, 800cc, a C50. So that's a 20-year-old vehicle going on 21 years. It's carbureted, hence the fact it was having a little trouble starting where it's cold out. And the choke retainer on it is broken, so I have to use something to hold it open for a little bit. But yeah, that's a 21-year-old vehicle. Haven't had to do a whole lot to it. She runs pretty good, you know, basic maintenance. And that's the newest vehicle I own. My wife's vehicle is a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee, excuse me. And other than some, like I said, regular maintenance, I had to replace the radiator on it. That's a daily driver. Her daughter's usually using it while I'm trying to fix that engine for her. Get that other engine, do an engine swap in her vehicle. Next thing I want to show you is my old truck. Right here, we got the old Dodge 1992 W250, which is four-wheel drive. That's the one that I want to build the engine for eventually. It's actually what I was hoping to put that 318 in, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I might hold out and actually try and get a 5.9 to put back in it. Right now it has a 360 LA. Now, I haven't had much luck with this damn tripod. Whenever I walk away from something, it has a tendency to fall over. But we're going to try this because I'm going to go start up this old truck. So the old truck started up. Yeah, the old truck started up pretty good. Now, yes, it does have a few problems, but for a 30-year-old vehicle, it's very reliable. One of the problems I have with it, that's annoying more than anything else, is if you saw me with the shifter, it's simply because the backup lights have a tendency to stay on when it's in park if you don't set it right. All that is an adjustment. And here we go. It's a little cool out right now and the engine's cold. And that's not smoke, that's just vapor. A little bit of water vapor. If it was smoke, trust me, there'd be a big cloud. But here you go, a 30-year-old vehicle. My daily driver starts up, runs good. My bike, 20-year-old vehicle, starts up, runs good, use it. The wife's Jeep, 22 going on 23-year-old vehicle, same thing, starts up, runs great. Those are all basically 20th century vehicles. Yes, I know the bike is a 2001, and that is actually the first year of the 21st century. Contrary to popular belief, 2000 was not the first year of the 21st century. The year 2000 was the last year of the 20th century. 21st century started in 2001. The 20th century started in 1901, not 1900. It's just the way it works out. There's no year zero. So each century obviously is 100 years. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is all these 20th century vehicles start and run every day. No problems. I got a 21st century vehicle here right now. It sucked a valve, and so I got another engine I have to put into it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-progress. I'm not afraid of change or anything. But there's a few things that are different. Now, my Dodge is a Dodge. It's a 92. It was still pretty much everything on it was still pretty much made and manufactured in America back then. The wife's Jeep, yeah, about maybe 70% of it. Believe it or not, even the Suzuki, it was not made overseas. It was made here, okay, in America. But it was made back in a time when people used to take pride in what they did. They used to take pride in their job, no matter how trivial the job was. They took pride in it. When I was growing up, we had a GM plant in my town, and a lot of people worked there for years, generations actually. And one thing I noticed growing up, I'd be riding with some friends of my father's, actually, that worked at GM. We'd be going down the road and they'd point out a GM vehicle and tell you, hey, I put the seats in that car. Or, hey, I put the dash on those cars. Or I put the rear end in. Or I installed the engine. Whatever they did. But they'd point them out because they were proud of what they did. And they did the best job they could, even if it sounds as trite as putting a seat in. They made sure they put the seat in properly. They put it in right. There was very little problems. And they were very proud of that. They were very proud of their product and the work that they did. What do we do nowadays in America? What do we make? What do we have that we can be proud of? And even if we did make something, it's something I've noticed over the last 20 years. There isn't very many people that take pride in what they do. You have people that just, they go to work because they have to. And that's it. And they do just what they have to do. And they don't take any pride in what they do. I'm not saying all. I'm just saying it's really becoming noticeable. There's simply no pride. Even when I was in high school and elementary school, my God, the janitors took pride in keeping the school up, in keeping the floors clean, lockers clean, the walls, the bathrooms and everything. They took pride in that. And, you know, you want to talk about a crap job? There it is. But that was their school. And their job was to keep it clean and do maintenance. And everyone took pride in that. They did the best they could. You just don't see that nowadays. There's no motivation for it. I don't know the solution, but I do know it's irritating. Because I don't know about you guys. I'm getting tired of buying stuff that's either no good out of the box or only lasts for a few weeks. Yeah, it's cheap. That does you no good when it breaks down and you have to replace it again and again and again and again. You know, it's like I was talking to somebody and just talking about cars. I heard two guys arguing. They both had to have the same job done on their vehicles. One guy paid $500. The other guy paid $1,200. And his buddy was telling him how he got ripped off for paying the $1,200 to have the job done, where he had the exact same thing done on his car for $500. Well, a week later, his car had to get towed back to the same shop to have that same exact $500 job done again. As a matter of fact, it broke down 3 times. It ended up costing him close to that $1,200 by the time he finally had it done and done right. Whereas the other gentleman that got screwed for paying the $1,200 the first time, yeah, his vehicle's still running. So a lot of times they'll tell you get what you pay for, but you know what? A lot of people don't mind paying the extra if it's done right the first time. A lot of people don't mind paying a little extra if they don't have to worry about it, whatever you buy, not working right out of the box or breaking again within a few weeks. But not much really is made in America anymore. And it's all made overseas. And because we're having trouble getting stuff from overseas, in case you haven't noticed, you know, even food in the stores, a lot of bare shelves. Trying to get parts, auto parts. Weeks and weeks of waiting. trying to do Christmas shopping and trying to find something. Everything is bare. I mean, there's not stuff there that used to be there 2 years ago. And we took that all for granted, that we were getting stuff cheap from overseas. Hell, we didn't even know it came from overseas, most of us. Now we're finding out. I don't know the answer. I mean, what can you do? How can you manufacture something in this country when everybody wants to make $50 an hour to sweep a floor? To do that, an apple is going to end up costing you $30. I don't have the answer. And don't get me wrong, you know, everyone should be able to make a living wage. But here's the thing, you got to work for it. The minimum wage is to make sure most people don't get screwed, okay? But it's not supposed to be a living wage for a family. You get a minimum wage job. That's where you start out as a teenager, or where you end up as someone who's retired and you just want to keep busy. It's not made, it's not designed, and it's not supposed to be for everyone that has a wife and 3 kids to survive on. That's not the idea behind minimum wage. Most of these minimum wage jobs too don't require a whole lot of education or experience either. It's an entry-level job. Anyway, I'm just rambling right now. And like I said, part of my point is to these newer vehicles, especially, to change subjects just a little bit. These newer vehicles, they're great. They're awesome for the first 5 years. But you can't work on them yourself anymore, unless you have a $7,000 scan tool. I mean, you can do minimum things to it, but with all the electronics on them, you can't pull it in a shed like I got right here, which is just a temporary awning, and work on the things like you can with some of these older vehicles. It's the mechanical parts are all pretty much the same, but a lot of these mechanical parts are now electronic parts, and you just can't figure them out without some sort of tool. Anyway, I'm just babbling. I don't even know if I'll post this. If I do, well, thank you for putting up with me. Leave some comments down. What's the biggest thing you've noticed in the last 2 years since everything has been shut down, and since we've had a supply problem, a logistics problem with getting stuff? What are some of the things that you noticed that aren't there anymore, or are real hard to get a hold of? Leave a comment. Let me know. It's interesting. I can't be the only one that's feeling this way. If I am, sorry for me. But I don't believe I'm the only one that's noticing this and feeling this way. Anyway, it's a little too cold to be outside here today. Too raw. It's just a bone aching dampness that's out here. It's too raw. So there won't be another video about this engine that I'm currently working on, the Mazda, probably until tomorrow. Or at least until I get propane, which is getting hard to find too, for my heater, so I can get some heat in this place. Alright guys, y'all take care and have a good day, and thank you for listening to me babble. Take care.